Your calendar is not a schedule. It is a document that describes exactly what kind of founder you are. Most founders who plateau near 7 figures are not working too little, but they're spending their peak hours on the wrong kind of work, making decisions reactively, and answering to their team instead of directing it. There are 3 operational protocols that separate founders who scale past that number from those who don't, and none of them are about effort. In the next 10 minutes, you'll see exactly what they are. The operational gap. Before 7 figures, a founder's value lives in execution. Building the product, closing the deals, handling whatever problem shows up that week. Past 7 figures, the job changes completely, and your value no longer lives in what you personally execute, but in what you decide, what you design, and what you protect. That distinction sounds simple. It's almost never acted on. Most founders don't make that shift, not because they don't understand it, but because their entire day is structured to prevent it. Look at your calendar from last week. If your peak morning hours are filled with team meetings, email, and reactive problem solving, you're running a founder's workload inside a CEO's title. The architecture of your day is built around availability, not output. This is what business coaches and scaling operators call the founder bottleneck. When the founder is the default destination for every question, approval, and decision, the company can only move as fast as the founder can respond. Documented startup scaling research shows that around $1 million in annual revenue, the founder is still the chief decision bottleneck for sales, hiring, product, and spending. No shared prioritization framework exists. Growth ideas compete with no way to evaluate them against each other. The result isn't a motivation failure. It is an architectural one, a daily operating system built for the early stage that hasn't been updated for where the company actually is. These 3 protocols are the update. Calendar architecture. The principle behind 7-figure calendar design is straightforward. Time is not a resource you manage. It is an asset you protect. Every hour spent in reactive mode is an hour not spent on the work that actually scales the business, which is strategy, key relationships, capital allocation, and product decisions. The foundation is the non-negotiable focus block. Most scaling founders schedule 2 half-day focus sessions each week, covering roughly 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon, before anything else touches the calendar. These blocks are not empty space. They are revenue assets that exist for high-leverage work requiring sustained, uninterrupted thinking. That kind of thinking doesn't happen in 10-minute gaps between meetings. The critical behavior is sequencing, which means focus blocks get placed on the calendar first, before any meetings are scheduled, so the hours with the highest cognitive value are already committed by the time anything else competes for them. The sequence is not optional. It is the whole point. The second layer is themed days to eliminate context switching. Every time you shift from a strategic decision to a team check-in to an investor call and back again, you pay a neurological tax. Documented 7-figure playbooks use a consistent weekly structure. Monday is team and culture, Tuesday is strategic projects and deep work. Wednesday is a full thinking day with no scheduled meetings. Thursday is external relationships, and Friday is review and planning. The third layer is meeting surgery. Meetings are a cost center. 2 rules govern this. For every new recurring meeting added, an existing one must be removed or converted to async, and every default meeting duration gets cut in half. 60-minute meetings become 30, and 30-minute meetings become 15. Batching all one-on-ones into 2 concentrated blocks per week rather than scattering them throughout recovers several hours without cutting a single conversation. The fourth layer is the 15-minute delegation rule. If a task falls outside your unique capability and takes more than 15 minutes to execute or troubleshoot, it gets delegated immediately. This rule forces the founder to stay in the work only they can do. The calendar architecture controls where your time goes. There is a separate system governing what you do with it, and most founders have never built one. Decision architecture. Most founders treat every decision with roughly the same level of deliberation, giving a small operational question the same analytical weight they'd give a $5 million commitment. That is a structural error that compounds daily. Jeff Bezos formalized a framework at Amazon that separates every decision into 2 categories. Type 1 decisions are one-way doors. Once you step through, reversing course is expensive or impossible. And the examples are the ones that keep founders up at night, like hiring a key executive, taking on institutional debt, or pivoting the core product. These deserve careful deliberation and time. Type 2 decisions are revolving doors, where you can walk through, look around, and walk back if it isn't working, which covers testing new pricing, running a marketing channel experiment, or launching a product variant. These deserve speed, not scrutiny. The founder who treats Type 2 decisions like Type 1 creates a perpetual backlog of unmade choices, a culture of analysis paralysis, and a team that learns to wait instead of act. The founder who treats Type 1 decisions like Type 2 walks into disasters that are expensive to reverse. The decision filter is a single question. Is this reversible at reasonable cost? If yes, move. If not, deliberate. Most founders who understand that framework still make a second, less obvious mistake. There is a principle that almost no one applies, and it comes from how the brain misprices difficult choices when the stakes feel equal. That principle comes from entrepreneur and investor Andrew Wilkinson. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. When two options feel roughly equal and you can't decide between them, your brain is applying a hidden tax to the more difficult option, discounting the harder choice to protect you from short-term discomfort and making it appear equivalent to the easier path when it isn't. Strip that tax out, and the harder path almost always produces the better outcome. Time-boxing decisions by size eliminates the third failure mode. Small decisions get under 1 minute. Medium decisions get 10 to 30 minutes. Large decisions get 24 to 48 hours with a hard deadline, never open-ended. Most analytical founders spend 40 minutes on decisions that deserve 40 seconds, not because they're indecisive, but because they've never assigned explicit time limits. One rule from the same framework governs hiring decisions specifically. If you're ever thinking, should I fire this person? The answer is yes. You never wonder that about a genuine star. The moment the question forms, the subconscious has already answered it. Before committing to aggressive scaling, check 5 conditions first. Retention durability, unit economics at or above a 3-to-1 lifetime value to customer acquisition ratio, operational depth that can handle 3 times current volume without headcount chaos, 12 or more months of runway, and a founder whose operational load has been distributed to a leadership team. If any gate fails, stabilize first. Scaling a leaky system accelerates the damage. Communication protocol. The calendar architecture and decision framework are both undermined by a single habit: being available at all times. When a founder responds to every message, approves every small decision, and stays perpetually reachable, 2 things happen. The first is obvious. Focus blocks collapse. The second is less visible and more damaging, because over time the team learns that the fastest path to any resolution is to skip independent thinking and escalate directly to the founder. This trains the organization to be dependent rather than self-directing. The bottleneck becomes structural, and constant availability is what cements it. The async-first principle is the foundation of the communication protocol. Before scheduling a meeting, the question is whether this can be answered in a short written message or a 2-minute recorded video. If yes, it stays there. Synchronous meetings are reserved for decisions that genuinely require real-time discussion, not status updates, not questions with written answers, not anything that can be documented and responded to on a delay. The implementation is immediate. Define 2 to 3 communication windows each day, for example 11:30 to noon and 3:30 to 4, where email and messaging get your full attention. Outside those windows, notifications are off during focus blocks. This converts attention from a resource that reacts to everything into a resource that directs selectively. For the team, the system includes 1 to 2 scheduled drop-in windows each week, where anyone can bring live questions. And the predictability of those windows removes the pressure to interrupt focus blocks at any other point. The team gets reliable access. The founder gets protected time. The weekly review closes the system. 20 to 30 minutes at the end of the week covers 3 questions. Where did unplanned work break focus blocks? Which meetings could have been async? And which recurring decisions that reached the founder this week could be codified so the team handles them independently going forward? Every decision documented as a standard rule removes one future interruption, and over a quarter, that compounds into several hours recovered per week. The system. 3 protocols. Calendar architecture to protect the work that scales the business, a decision framework to stop weighing every choice the same way, and a communication system that builds team capability instead of founder dependency. These protocols don't save time on their own, but they change what the founder's time produces in a way that compounds over every week they're running. The founder who crosses 7 figures hasn't found a better idea or worked harder than the ones who plateau. They've built a better operating environment. If this changed how you think, subscribe. Every week, this channel breaks down the psychology, habits, and mental models of the world's highest performers, distilled into frameworks you can actually use.